Wainwright of the bands Deal with God and All for All. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up. What's going on, Caffeinated Crew? Today, joined with Dylan from Deal with God.
Hello.
What's going on?
Chilling. I'm on my technically third coffee today, even though I only drank 1.5 because this morning I got a cup of coffee and I slid and fell on my ass and dumped the entire thing. And then when they remade it, I left it at my fiance's store. So I'm drinking coffee from my house.
Was it like cartoon in the air, like coffee everywhere? Yes.
It was like some fucking slipping on banana peel Mario Kart shit. I was like, perfect. I could tell this on the coffee podcast.
Man, that's an indicator of a good day when you just slip and bust it in front of everybody. Coffee everywhere.
Well, thankfully, no one was around, but I was like bummed because like I got a sandwich for my fiance and like half the sandwich just flew. It's still there. I didn't pick it up. I was just like, I was too pissed to throw it out.
Fuck this sandwich. I'm on my third coffee too, but I work at a cafe, so
right.
I had to like test coffee this morning and make sure that it was good. Then I had Alec came by and I had a cold brew with Alec, which was nice. And then
Alec from what was that?
From Cloned Apparition.
Yeah, Cloned Apparition.
Yeah, that's the homie. He is the homie. And so he came over and we were talking about what we were going to talk about today. So he like blew my mind with something, and I've been out of the loop apparently because I'm more film centric on some things. But he busted out Crate. Didn't know that existed.
That is the greatest app of all time.
I'm on Letterboxd and
app of all time. What was that?
I'm on Letterboxd, so he pulls it out. He's like, it's like Letterboxd, but for music. And I was like, oh shit, another app I don't need.
Oh yeah, dude. It's also like I feel like Crate is like the people's square, because there's so much stuff that like people imagine is like, oh, this is like popular. That like, this is like what is relevant in hardcore. And then like you see like they get like a fucking 2.5 on Crate. Like it's like literally I feel like it's like the checks and balances in hardcore. It's also the shit talking app, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I'm scared to join just because I don't want to get sucked into the shit talking hole, because it's very easy for me, as I assume it is for you.
Very easy for me. I try to tame myself, because there's like obviously like it's all opinions. I feel like at the end of the day, like usually if I just don't like something, I just like don't really bother reviewing it unless it's like I've definitely listened to some stuff that's just like offensively bad that I'm like, yo, like come on, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's like the internet, it's opinions and shit. Like people have like shat on my bands before, and I'm like, you can do that. It's a free. I live in a free country. I don't know what they have up in Canada, but I'm just kidding.
Brother, we got communist. No, I'm just kidding. It's America Light. What am I gonna say?
I remember we played All for All played Toronto, and my homie Peyton was like rolling with us just to tag along, and we were being dickheads, and he said, yo, like as we were getting to the Canadian border, he's like, yo, do you think they got freedom of speech up here? And I'm like, yeah, only in French though.
In Toronto.
Only in French.
If you can
really say, lowest hanging fruit joke.
It's true. I mean,
I love Canada though. Both Both times I played Toronto and Montreal has been awesome. Especially Montreal was great. The actual French speaking part.
The realist. Montreal is the best city in Canada. I'm not from here, so I'm allowed to say that.
I'm not from Syracuse, by the way, so I can say that's the best city in upstate New York.
Exactly. So we're nationalized in. What kind of coffee do you have?
I have this is going to be a sin. It's the Nestle Pod coffee. I know it's Nestle, the corrupt, awful organization, but it was quick and easy, and I didn't want to brew an entire pot just for a little fix, because the past 2 coffee experiences today were a travesty.
You wasted enough coffee today.
Oh yeah, I wasted enough. I was like, I'm not gonna brew a whole pot just for it to just sit there and get disgusted. Especially at like 3:00, where if like I drink coffee past like 5, I'm like zooted for like the whole evening.
I have always been like that too, but this class I have tonight, it's a 4-hour film class starting at 6.
Yeah.
So I have to like sit through a lecture and then a film.
Oh my Lord. A whole or is it like a short film, like 45 minutes?
It's a feature film.
Oh my God. Movie night.
So
that's awesome.
I've had to start drinking coffee before that class, because the first one we watched both the old Nosferatus back to back.
Oh, are you talking about like the original like black and white one, and then the one that was like the same director that did like Possession and shit like that, right? Or was it just the same actress?
So the new Nosferatu is by Eggers, who did, I believe, didn't he do Possession?
I think he did the latest one was The Witch. I think like he did like The Witch and shit like that. I think like Northman Witch.
Yeah, he did do that one.
He did Lighthouse, I think.
Did he do Lighthouse?
I think
it tracks because Willem Dafoe is in it.
Yes, he has Willem Dafoe in like every movie, pretty much playing the video guy.
On an unrelated note, this is a tangent. I watched Asteroid City yesterday, the Wes Anderson film.
That one is actually.
It's the newest Wes Anderson, which I, for better or for worse, do enjoy his movies aesthetically. But Willem Dafoe is in it, and he's just randomly in it, like for 3 scenes. And I'm starting to learn how much I actually do love Willem Dafoe outside of being the Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, dude, he's the man. He's awesome. I did love, like, there's a lot of people who didn't like Nosferatu. I did like it a lot. It was definitely like, I've seen like critiques from like both sides of the coin where like it's just the people who like didn't get it, like in terms of like people were saying, oh, it was like super horny, and I was like, it's vampires, bro. What do you want? It's fucking vampires. Like that is a gothic romance. What do you want from it? And then I see people saying, like, I think people saying that it's like a dog shit movie is like, all right, come on. Like, I don't think it's like dog shit. I loved it, but also like I can see if someone is like, oh, if someone who's like actually like versed in like cinema, like I'm not like a movie buff kind of guy. Like I'm trying better about watching movies. But like I just like barely have the attention span to like I just started watching like just started actually like realizing I can watch movies by myself. So I'm like, oh, like I don't need to have people over, or like I don't need to watch this with like my fiance. I could just watch it by myself. To like watch like all the really like, you know, like artsy shit, like Jean Cocteau movies or whatever. Is it like, yeah, Jean Cocteau, right? I think he's like silent films and shit like that. But all the Criterion kind of like,
there we go. That's the word I want to hear.
That kind of stuff. Like I actually was like, you know, I'm actually going to start watching, like trying to get through the ones that I think I might enjoy. But even then, like I barely like I have to really like lock in and like watch it. But I like I said, I'm not. It took me years to watch. Like it took years to watch Wayne's World. Like, and my friends Colin and Lucas, Lucas who also plays on like All for All and shit in Street Hassle. He's like, they used to like roast me until I finally saw it, and then I finally saw it. And I'm like, okay, you guys can shut up now. But they're still roasting me about never seeing Good Will Hunting. So
what the fuck?
that too. Yeah.
I won't judge. Also, I have thoughts about Nosferatu, the new one. I will not share them because that will be too long. That will take the whole podcast. Yeah. I didn't like it. I'm just gonna say that.
That's fine.
it's for reasons.
I want to know. I will give me like one or two reasons because I'm curious when people say that they don't like it.
Okay, so there's two. So after that first 1922 Murnau's version of Nosferatu, the silent one, there is a second one. There's a remake made by Werner Herzog, who is also.
I think that's the one I was thinking of because it has the woman from the like 1981 Possession movie.
Yes, because his was 77.
Yes.
Okay, so that one, love it. Herzog is so strange in the way that he makes like normal situations feel unnatural and unnatural situations feel normal. Like he's almost gaslighting you into feeling like you should just be in on everything that's happening. Mm-hmm. I like that because so the first two are very German expressionist influence with Herzog giving it that new romantic era of German film. This Eggers version, as much as I think he strived to make it a Gothic romantic style film, which is fine. To me, the shots have almost no dynamic value. There's no foreground, which is a like prime example of German. You have to at least give a little bit of a nod to where the origins are, and there was none. I don't like that there's almost zero room for interpretation on the relationship between Ellen and this is spoilers. There's no room for interpreting the Ellen Count Orlok connection. Like in the first two, there's nods to like why they would be so connected and why they wouldn't. And you're like, why is this such a thing?
And they make it more like there's like,
they over-explained it.
Yeah, I saw a critique somewhere where someone was saying that it would like held the audience's hand a little too much.
That's how I feel.
I haven't seen the first two original, like the original and the first remake. It's been on my list. Like I think we tried watching it and then we realized we just like weren't in the mood to watch like a slow burn like that. So I think I just put up YouTube or some shit. Yeah. But yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I think with me personally with that movie, I was just like, oh, like not a lot of movies at like I did not like Longlegs. I thought it was just like I had a very scathing letterbox review of Longlegs, and I think I kept every single time I saw a movie that I liked, like I would watch a movie and I would be like, man, I forgot how great this movie is. I would like subtract a half star from Longlegs every single time I watched the movie. I was just like, I hate it. And now it's at 0 stars, and I would keep adding to the review, being like, yo, just saw this movie. Reminded me about how much I hated this movie. I know people love that movie. You didn't watch Longlegs? I mean, it was like there was cool stuff about Longlegs, like aesthetically and like some of the scares, but it just felt like I feel like with me, anytime it's like, oh, Satan's the big bad guy, I just immediately get turned off because I feel like it's just cheap. And it's like I liked what was it? What was the movie? It was the one that came before it was the it was A24 film. It was Hereditary. I liked Hereditary. My fiance hated Hereditary. She literally got up, stood up in the movie theater and said, that movie was fucking bullshit, audibly in the theater. And I was like, I loved it. But I liked that because it took like one like deity within like the Lesser Key of Solomon like Payman, obviously, instead of being like, oh, Satan. And then like, I didn't like, yeah, that was mainly my critique, is that like they try to do some like weird occult thing, but it was just like, ooh, Satan. Oh, here in the corner, there's this goat creature with horns. And I'm like, you couldn't, like, it was like Wikipedia article-esque knowledge of like, you know, occult shit or like demonology or whatever. And I was just like, come on, man. Like, this is supposed to be like the big, like, scary movie of the year. And that's all you got. And like the characters were like pretty cool, like in terms of like long legs or whatever. But it just like it started with one thing, then there was all this mystery, and like I can't remember at what point during the movie where, like, you know, when you really like a movie and then like out of nowhere you're just like, okay, I actually hate this movie. Like, you love a movie and it like snaps and you're like, oh, actually now I fucking hate this. Like, yes. it was like you were like getting edged, and then it just stops. Like, it was like, what the fuck? That's how my fiance Meg felt about Hereditary. Not to tangent, but she was like, it could have ended at, spoilers, it could have ended at the girl getting decapitated. Like, that could have been the movie. And I honestly, I can see that. Like, I think when they did this seance, she immediately was like, okay, now I hate this movie.
That's so when it came out, me and my friends watched it and I was like, oh my God, that's so groundbreaking. But then when I watched all of the films that basically inspired that film, I was like, okay, it's not that great. And I watched it with my wife, and my wife asked me midway through the film if it was a comedy. She was like, I know how. We were 5 minutes in. She's like, I already know how this movie ends. She was like, this is the worst horror film I've ever seen.
That's crazy. It's so funny how, like, I don't know, like how different people can, like, and also like how like view, like, my view or people, an individual's view of film can, like, or just anything. Like, there's even like music that I'm like, I mean, obviously some things age differently, but like even in like real time, there's stuff that I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then I'm like, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's just like, I think it's like the idea of like what's fresh in this like age of like rapid information. I feel like back in the day, it was like harder. Like now, like the movie guy is like an archetype of a human being now, where like anyone can, like, that's why I don't call myself a movie guy. And I literally am like, I actually like actively say I don't watch movies, even though I do watch movies. I've seen like a lot of movies, but like I don't consider myself a film guy because I'm like, I don't know what German expressionism is. Like, I probably would if you like, it's definitely, I could probably figure it out, but like I couldn't tell you that. Like I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head because I never took a film class. I never studied like film narrative or like the history of film or whatnot. Like, I'm not primed for that. I'm not, I don't have the, what's the term I'm looking for? I don't have the qualifications to like actively like say that my opinion is like valid, I guess. But
it's not even like, so this is my first like film class proper because I'm doing a film studies degree. And we have to do like discussion on some reading and stuff throughout the week, and we have to post on a forum. Right. And I was like getting ready to post. I'm like, oh yeah, like these articles, I definitely like have what I want to write. And instead of going ahead and doing that first and submitting it, I read some other entries and I was like, my opinions are dog shit. This is horrible. And
there's always going to be someone more pretentious than you. You know what I mean?
There are hundreds of those. So now I'm like, I emailed my professor. I'm like, I think I'm dog shit at writing. Like, how can I get better comprehension? And he was like, just write. He's like, just what, like, it doesn't have to be good. Just fucking put it down. And I was like, all right, thank you. Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm drinking now.
All right, yeah. Your coffee.
So deep.
Sorry, like I said, I'm a yapper.
No, I get on tangents like I'll be a dog chasing a rabbit. So I roasted this coffee. It's called Koji, which sounds like Joji, but it's Koji. It's
Koji, the singer songwriter.
That's what I like. There is a Koji singer songwriter. Wasn't he like kind of in the hardcore adjacent scene?
Yeah, I think he did like a split with Into It Over It. Mm-hmm. Like he was like part of that run for car like top shelf world where it was like everyone was kind of into hardcore to some varying degree.
Like 2016 era.
Yeah, or even earlier than that. I think Koji was like 2010, 2011. But either way, coffee. Back to coffee.
So Koji, shout out Koji. This is a Colombian coffee. It's washed thermal shock, which I have no fucking clue what that means. It's like anaerobic, and it tastes like lychee and like orange Jolly Ranchers.
Ooh, that sounds kind of crazy.
It's pretty tasty.
You said it like orange Jolly Rancher. Like, would it be like, you know, like a chocolate, like kind of like a like kind of the same vibe as like a chocolate orange almost?
No, it's not chocolatey at all.
Oh, my bad. I didn't hear
it's
the
all
word.
Good. No. It's like super fruity, like really, really, really fruity.
My friends and I do like OJ espresso. Have you ever tried that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're acquainted with, I think it was like the something sunrise. It's the Phoenix sunrise or Arizona. It's like I forgot the term. I forgot the name of it. It's like a play on like a tequila sunrise, I think, or like something like that. But like yeah, no, every summer like we would like it was really just me and my friend Colin would do that. Cause I think there was like an Instagram page of like I think like all like the power dudes just like doing like OJ espresso shit. And then I saw like someone also did like Baja Blast and espresso, which I still have yet to try.
Oh yeah, I will do
which
that.
Which sounds insane.
I will do that tomorrow.
You gotta get the golden ratio though. You gotta get like the perfect ratio of like orange juice and espresso.
I make Americolas where you take like a Coke with real sugar and pour espresso into that.
I bet that tastes like insane.
It's good. They used to make it. They had the Coca-Cola, like, what was it? The Coca-Cola and coffee. They had it in the cans.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
Like, maybe might have even been last year. They had it a couple of years ago for sure. It used to be Coca-Cola Black. The
Oreo one.
Oh, the Oreo one was garbage.
Yeah, it was awful. I hated it. I remember like thinking like, oh, this could be really good. And I was like, it tastes like what I think it would be. But like, then I realized I didn't want to taste that.
It's like, oh, it tastes like Oreo backwashing Coke. That's wonderful.
Right.
The Coke flavored Oreos weren't that bad.
Oh, I didn't have the Oreos themselves. I just had the drink. I'd imagine that like the other way around is better, but obviously like the drink is just like, I don't want to drink like liquid Oreo. That tastes insane.
It was really gross. The actual, so the Oreos had like pop rocks in them where it would like burst so that it felt like it was fizzy or whatever.
It's kind of awesome.
It's like 100% streamer food. Like it's like a Twitch. It's like food for Twitch kids. Like it's not anything a 30-year-old man should be eating
or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually tried Feastables once just like as a bit. I think my friend Payne who lives upstairs, like we usually just do stockings for like all the people who live in our house. And I put like, he was like on a ironic Mr. Beast kick and I just put Feastables in his stocking. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I was like, this tastes like shit. This tastes like really bad chocolate. Like this doesn't feel creamy or like it's not like a Hershey bar at all. Like this is literally like chocolate coin chocolate. Like that. It tastes like it's been in a basement. Like it was awful.
Have you tried Lunchly yet?
No. What is that?
That's the Lunchable alternative made by Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI.
Oh, I'm good on all that. I'm good on all that.
There's like almost a full size entire Prime like hydration drink in every box of Lunchly.
It's crazy.
And a small Feastables bar.
Dude, I can't, like, I used to actually love Prime, and now I'm just like, I don't, because like the fucking forever chemicals in the bottle kind of scare. I mean, there's microplastics in everyone's ball sack at this point, but like,
true.
Yeah. But like, I'm just like, ooh, I don't like that. Yeah.
No. I used to like the Prime Energy used to be slapping.
Oh yeah, it was great. But I'm also like I'm a strict Red Bull guy. So like, and now they have like the Amber Edition sugar free. So I'm like, which was originally a Canadian thing. And when we played, when All for All played Toronto, when we played that fest, I was like, holy shit. So I just like grabbed as many as I could. I'm like, I'm sneaking these across the border. Fuck it. Like, I was just like amazed. And then they finally put them in the States like a month or two later. And I was like, oh, yeah. All right, that's cool. But
that's like, I wish they would do that with Liquid Death, but Liquid Death gave up basically on having anything in Canada. I don't know what happened.
Interesting.
But
I don't love their seltzer, mostly because it's like sugary as hell. And
you
like,
think so?
Well, they have like sugar in their seltzer. Like they have like agave or something like that. Like in their, it's not like a regular seltzer that's like sugar free. It's got like a gram or two of sugar or something like that, or like just like 1 gram of sugar. But it's like just there. I did like the buried alive flavor, but like that was like the lime. Like I want something refreshing when I drink like a lime seltzer or some shit. But like when you have that little sweetness, I'm just like it's too much. And then also like anytime I drink anything sugary, like I like tense up and like get anxious like for the whole day. So like I'm a strict like Coke Zero, sugar-free Red Bull. Like I don't, very rarely, like I'll have like a Jarritos like at like a Mexican restaurant, but like I have to prepare my whole day around that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of pathetic, but I guess that's just like being an adult with ADHD.
I'm about to get fucked up on this Jarritos right now.
Oh, straight edge life right there.
That tamarind's gonna fuck me up solid. Give me. We'll do a positive and we'll do a negative and then a positive. How about that?
Okay.
Because my resolution for this year is no beef. We're going to be positive. We're going to think the best about people until they give me a reason not to. But that's neither here nor there. So you being on Crate and me learning what that is today, give me a hot take. Give me we'll do a positive one after, I promise. One that like is a sleeper that needs to be known about. Give me one that's, because I read a few on your page today where I was like, damn, he going in.
I get a little zesty. It's no hard feelings. It's just I have no.
There's
mouth.
Some that are friends too, where I was like, damn, he just roasted them backwards and forwards.
I'm sorry. Oh, it's coming back to bite me. I mean, like, it is what it is. People have said shit about my band. Like,
yeah, everybody says shit about
shit. So I'm like, whatever. Hot take. So you want like, what do you want? Like, what's
like maybe something that was really popular, like really popping off, but that you were just like, I don't get it. This is not good.
Ah, man, I gotta think. I was trying to pull up Crate, but because I'm using the mic on my phone, like immediately, and I can't go on Crate on a website, so I got raw dog this. Damn,
right,
trying to think what came out this year. Let me thank God for computers. What came out this year? Let me check Spotify.
There's one that comes to mind.
I think it was, I'm trying to think of something. What was something that I was like, about that everyone was like loving. But then I love stuff that everyone shits on. Like, I'm trying to think. There was like a demo, like that band Start Today, which is all those kids, like that was getting like completely shat on. And then I was like I think it's awesome because it's just like a bunch of young kids trying to do like arguably like the least attractive form of hardcore, which is like super posy like youth crew shit. And like I don't know, there's something about it that I'm like, this is awesome. Like there's nothing about this that is like it sounds like a shitty demo that like you would get on like a CDR in like 2000 whatever. Mm-hmm. So but that's like the opposite. I'm trying to think of like a hot take. Oh man.
I mean, there were some that like people were straight up just dumping on though. Like that I'm not gonna throw it out. I can't say it. It's just that they're like friends and they help us a lot.
Right. I'm trying to think of something that like, man, I'm like actually looking. Trying to think like what came out. Man, I'll just look at like a 2025 hardcore playlist.
24. Oh, 20. Oh, 2025. Maybe not this year because we're only 27 days in. Oof.
2024 hardcore. Because I don't want to say like Knock Loose because that's like an obvious for me.
Dude, like, Knock Loose is so good. They're so sick.
I already got lambasted on Twitter for my opinions on that.
Bro, the one of pop culture is insane. It's so funny.
I can't do it. I just can't. I remember when it came out and I was just like, it's not for me. It was not for me. I mean, like if there's kids that like, I have plenty of friends that got into hardcore like through Knock Loose and shit. So I can't like, you know, I can't completely like say like, oh, if that was your end, like, cause like, I'm not like everyone gets into hardcore through some like really like whack way. You know what I mean? Like everyone has like a shitty like entry level band. Like, I don't know, like I used to love NoFX as a kid. And like the amount of friends I have, they're like, that band fucking sucks. And I was like, I liked it when I was in 7th grade. Like, you know, like everyone has like a band that's like kind of like not like the most like kosher, like entry level. But for me personally, I was already like well seasoned into hardcore at that point, and I was just like, I can't do this. And I like liked some like metalcore stuff too. Like I wasn't like a 100% like hardcore purist, but I don't know. I just remembered it was like, well, that was like the beginning of like a massive like change for me. I feel like in hardcore, but. I mean, yo, they're making more money than me, so like, who fucking cares? Like,
yeah.
I mean, one of the dudes was able to buy his mom a house. That's cool. Good for them.
Even like the dude Nico, that's basically like the fill-in, quote unquote. I guess he's in the band now, but he's like, I mean, he's on salary. That shit's crazy.
Right. That's wild. But then there's also like bands that like I love that like also get like mainstream success, like Turnstile. Like I mean, I grew up with that band, and like to me that represented like a era of hardcore that like I view very fondly. But they're still doing like the procore thing, you know what I mean? So it's like it's very give and take. Maybe I'm cherry picking. Who knows? You know what I mean? Also helps that I like Glow On a lot when it came out, which I didn't like Time and Space that much when it came out. I didn't like Time and Space, but Glow On like so me back into Turnstile. And I don't know why out of all the records, like the most poppy record is the one that like brought me back to that band. But also maybe that's just like on a musical level, like I enjoy where they're pulling from. There's stuff on it that like I'm like, oh, I can see that they pulled that from a Bad Brain song.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Eigensei era, like Bad Brain shit. You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll leave my hot take being like Yank Loose, because I can't really think of like anything that came out that everyone was like freaking out about. I guess there's like a couple.
Speed released their full length this year, and everybody loved it.
I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people that weren't fond of it, but I didn't hate it, which is probably a hot take on my part.
And then there's the Pain of Truth full length came out this year.
Okay, that might be my hot take. Was not a fan.
What?
Was not a fan. It just too many features.
That's
too many features. It was just too much for me. Like it was like no dig, but like it was just. I feel like it was too much for my palate. You know what I mean? Like I liked the EP and the split when those came out, but the LP, I think I like the Shane feature a lot, the bad seed feature, but I wasn't big on. I gave it like an honest fair listen. I was just like, I know what they're doing, respect to what they're doing, just not for me. It was as someone who loves overstimulation and for lack of better terms, complete like brain rot, overload, maximalism. Like I love noise music. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Pain of Truth record just like overstimulated me a little too much. But that's my own personal preference.
I think it's a good hot take. I liked the singles a lot. But it felt like when the album came out, it was a lot of the same riff with just like features on it, which is, I mean, that's what they're doing. I get it. Like it's fine. It's good. It's fun to listen to, like live.
I remember the first time I saw them, because I saw them. I didn't get to see them like on their first few shows. I saw them in Albany, and I was like, oh, they're like doing like professional hardcore. Like they're doing the hate, like they are doing Hatebreed. Like what Hatebreed was doing when Hatebreed was like getting their buzz. Like they were Toraholic, like stage like maximalist stage present, like doing spins and jumps. Like they're doing Biohazard. They're doing like Hatebreed in terms of like their presentation. So like I get what they're doing. Like it's not that like I don't understand. Like I get what they're doing. I just, for me personally, in my like sensibilities for hardcore, it like doesn't check the boxes that like I like. You know what I mean? But they're not a bad band. You know what I mean? They're not a terrible band. It just it didn't hit me the way that like it hit a lot of other people.
Dude, the test is the best song that I think that they've ever put out.
On the first record?
Yeah, on the EP.
That was the one that was like, no. Yeah, it was great. I remember when that came out, I was just like, this is crazy. Like, this is nuts. But.
Good take. What's your intro to hardcore?
My intro to hardcore. I could say Beastie Boys, but at the time I just thought it was like hip hop and rock, you know, or like punk. Like I knew what punk was, but like just I thought of it as just like rock. You know what I mean? That was like when I was like a kid. I would say like my intro to hardcore was I had a friend who was into punk when I was in like 6th grade, and he was showing me songs, and I was like, oh wait, this song was in Tony Hawk. Cool. Like I know this song, like Dead Kennedys and shit like that. So like I already had it like in my like in the back of my head, and from like the Tony Hawk games and whatnot, like American Wasteland and Tony Hawk Underground and whatnot. But then I was also like really, really into like hip hop. It was like 6th, 7th grade. And there was a documentary about Jedi Mind Tricks, the rap group. And in the video, like they talk about how they used to be called Soulcraft, which was a Bad Brains song off of Quickness. And I was like, I think I've heard that before. I think I've heard that name before. So then I got into Bad Brains through that. So like, I think I looked up that song, and then I looked up like the first album, and then like the friend that I knew who was into like punk and stuff like that, like started hanging out with him a little bit more. He showed me like a lot of like the Youth Crew shit, and showed me like, told me about Slapshot, told me about, he also was like into like pop punk and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like I was getting everything all at once, but he showed me Have Heart. He showed me Cold World, showed me Comeback Kid. And then I went to like a record store, and I was like, do you have any hardcore CDs? And then that's when I got Keepers of the Faith on CD. And it was just kind of like like a storm of like, okay, like here's this thing that's like energy wise, like underground hip hop, and like talking about real shit. Cause I was into like KRS-One and like that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, this is all like cool. This is all the same thing. And then obviously like I was into like skate punk kind of stuff, like Bad Religion and NoFX and whatnot. So it was like kind of all at the same time. So like Minor Threat and Black Flag and whatnot. And then I like actually got into like hardcore, and I got really like over the summer of like 8th to 9th grade, like that's summer in between, I got really into like Title Fight and shit like that. And then my first show was in 2012, Title Fight, Malfunction, Tied Down, and then one other like emo band. And then the band Tied Down covered like 3 songs. At first I thought it was the EP, the full EP, but then I rewatched the video. It was just 3 songs of the Straight Edge Revenge EP. They did like Shut Down, Dance Floor Justice, and then ended with like Straight Edge Revenge. And that was like, I'd listened to like Youth of Today and Chain of Strength, Bold, like those were the bands I was into, but I had never listened to Project X before. So that was like my introduction to like Project X and seeing like everybody fucking go crazy. Cause like before that I was going to like local ska shows and shit like that. Like I saw this band called Do It With Malice from Buffalo. I had seen Streetlight Manifesto. There was a band called Lightning Kill My Parents, which was like another Buffalo ska band. Very ska, you know what I mean? And then I saw that band We Are the Union. Do you remember that band?
No.
They were like ska pop punk. They're still a band. I saw like an Instagram ad for them once. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was weird.
Like pop punk ska?
Yeah, they were like pop punk with horns. Like it was like imagine if like Newfound Glory had like a horn section.
I mean, it could be about that.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was very interesting.
I like Newfound Glory.
It's funny, on that same tour, I saw The Story So Far on Under Soil and Dirt, and it was like 20 people were there.
No.
Which is wild to think about now. Wild. And I didn't even know who they were. I was like, this friend I had was like, do you want to go to this ska show or whatever? Like, my mom said that I could go if I bring a friend. So that was like my first like introduction to going to shows were those, which is funny. But yeah, but then I got into hardcore, and it was kind of just like downhill from there.
It's like an exponential downhill slide.
And then like towards like the end of eighth grade and beginning of ninth grade, like I got really into like screamo as well. So it was like youth crew, screamo, and then I found a blog called Cut and Paste Your Face, which was it was like a blog spot, and that had like Hoax and Natural Law and Kulo, like that era, like that scene, like all the fucking crazy like chain punk, for lack of better term, shit. So I was also rocking with like that kind of stuff too at the same time, and it was like a weird era of like and consuming all of it at once. So yeah, that was kind of like my introduction to like all things hardcore until I like started figuring out like when I started actually going to shows and realizing like, oh, it's just like my scene specifically was like the face punch scene. Like it was like I saw Thick as Blood on their last tour, like metal shit. So I was like, oh, this is very different than the stuff I saw on YouTube. So it was like learning everything all at once. Like I got like hit with like this smorgasbord of hardcore. Yeah.
Man, I never got to see Thick as Blood, but I play in a band that's basically ripping off Thick as Blood, which is fun.
That's funny.
I love that. I love Thick as Blood.
Great band with an insane demo with insane lyrics. They have like that like fuck scene kids song, which is like we hate boys that look like girls, like really like anti-emo shit. Like just 3 vocalists too. For the demo was 3 vocalists.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I just know off of where it's like what's the one with the serpent on it? Or it's got like, it's like a serpent. It's with Raising Hell and all that on it.
Oh, dude.
The 07.
Yeah, that one was great.
When then he went and he's like in Mayans now, or he's on that show.
Yeah, he starred in it or something like that. That was like, he was like the last, like, I mean, he was in the band the whole time, but he was like the remaining vocalist. Like he was on the last record and shit like that. And I think the one with the serpent, they still had 2 vocalists at that time. Okay. I could be wrong. Or like maybe it was the one that had Lead the Victory, which was like I think, wasn't it like a gladiator or something like that?
Yeah, it was like a gladiator mask on the front.
Dude, worst era for album art too. Like
it's swagless.
Dude, but it's kind of awesome how bad it is. Like, you remember that band Betrayal, or like Tyrant, or like
First Blood,
all that shit. Like even though they're like dope, but like the old Loyal to the Grave records, like terrible artwork, like terrible. But and what sucks is like it's such a repellent for people to actually check it out, because like some of that stuff is awesome, like legitimately, like especially to today's sensibilities, like that stuff is awesome. Like I remember Guav telling me like, oh yeah, Loyal to the Grave, they sound like they're like a Japanese band that sounds like Another Victim, and I would have like not put 2 and 2 together, because the artwork just does not remind me of like Another Victim or like any of those old, like the 90s like Syracuse bands. Because so it's interesting era.
Yeah, that like late 2000, early 2010s, really good music. Like even there was like Reign Supreme, I feel like had like,
oh dude
great records, just not the best. Even My Friends had really weird, not good artwork on their records, and they were like that metalcore shit.
Yeah, dude, Reign Supreme, like that band, like I feel like I never got to see them. They did play Rochester, but like I don't think I was able to go. That's a band that's very much lost to time. Like I feel like a lot of that like moshcore stuff, like some of it is a little dated, And like I feel like now, like since like everyone's starting like a beatdown band, like everyone and their mother like is like trying to do like, I don't know, like just like denied worship or whatever. So it's kind of like weird to think that that is also beatdown, because that's not like baggy pants beatdown. It's like moshcore and beatdown are two like separate entities that have the same reactions.
Yeah.
Like I feel like beatdown, there has to be a little bit of like, you know, like like urban vibe. Like that sounds like whack as fuck, but like there's a little bit of like a urban twist to it, because like obviously it came from like New Jersey, New York, so it has to have like a little bit of like that kind of swagger to it. But meanwhile, like band from like bumfuck nowhere that like is covered in face tattoos, militant aesthetic, like that is like two completely different sides of the coin, but like still both very violent scenes in their own way. But yeah, that was the scene I grew up in, was like the baggy gym shorts or cargo short, like scary guy in a Carhartt hood swinging backward shit. You know what I mean? It was like my friend Sam, who plays in Deal God, refers to it as anti-style.
Yeah.
Like when you're just swinging backwards like repeatedly and that's how you mosh. He's like, yeah, it's like such bad style that it ends up being its own style.
It's so I was talking with the guy. He like represents a lot of bands on like IAG. And we were talking about like Montreal's style, like the hardcore scene. Outside the city, like we'll have some cool people in the city that are plugged in, but outside the city, everyone's stuck in 2010. And so everyone's wearing, yeah, baggy shorts, hoodie, windbreaker that's usually like camo or something like that, flat brim hat that's just flat, like flat,
awesome.
flat.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And they swing back. That's all it is. They only know how to swing back.
It's crazy because in the Northeast, like fitted hats are back. Like all the kids in like Discontent and shit. Well, they're from like New Jersey, New York, so they get a pass. Like they can dress like that. I mean, like Caden, the singer's dad, was in fucking Demise, so like it's fine.
Yeah, you get that's.
But like
grandfathered in.
You're grandfathered into the New York fitted. You know what I mean? But like everyone's doing puffer jacket, like North Face puffer, like fitted New York Yankees hat, like pair of Jordans or pair of Air Maxes or whatever. I almost said Solomon's, but that's the Arc'teryx jacket crowd. I mean, I got Solomon's, but like I did like a whole like research thesis on my Instagram story once of like the different jackets in hardcore. And I told my friend I would do that for a zine, so I gotta work on that for the next issue of the zine.
Oh fuck, the Arc'teryx jacket, it's big here,
dude. It's big here. I mean, my fiance just got into like Arc'teryx jackets and shit, because she's like, I want to go hiking now, and I'm like, all right, well, if you're gonna like buy it, we actually have to go hiking. And then we got sick with norovirus, so I don't know when we're going to actually do that. But as soon as like we decided we're going to do all this like outdoor stuff, we start like puking and shitting our brains out. So that
on
was
the trail.
Dude, that would have been awful. But like I put on hers, like she got like the insulated one. I was like, dude, this is actually kind of crazy, because it's like I have like a North Face like 700 fillet, like, because like in upstate, and you know as a Canadian, like you need to dress warm. Like I will see people like visiting or whatever, and they like can't comprehend that you need like gloves and a hat sometimes, like gloves, hat, maybe even a scarf. Like it gets fucking cold up here, especially when it gets like windy. Like it gets like really bad, and I'm like, if I stand out here for like enough time, like I'll get frostbite. So like obviously like you have to have like a big jacket, but like I put hers on, I'm like, this feels like I'm wearing a windbreaker, but it like also doesn't. Like, it has like the warmth of like a puffy North Face 700 fill, but it's like the kind of like the lightness of like a just like a regular shell. It's kind of crazy.
I need one of those. I hate big puffy jackets, but like in Montreal, like you gotta have one.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
I can't imagine like how bad your because like we always joke that like upstate New York is South Canada because it's just like not only is it like just very rural up here, but it's also just like insanely like just like freezing. Like I can't even imagine people like Maine or whatever. Like it's just brutal up here. And yeah, like you can't not like our guitarist Sam will just walk outside in a leather, like just like a leather jacket. Cause like, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? He's like, I don't really care. But he does have like, he has a Canada Goose jacket that he got when he was working at Nordstrom, because he used to work at Nordstrom Rack, and he got it for $100. And the funniest thing he's ever done is, hear me out. The patch, he was like, I got it because he's such a fucking weird motherfucker. He used to like take the bus to work and shit like that. He's like, I got it so I could stay warm when I would walk to work, because he doesn't have a car or license. And he's like, so people wouldn't mug me and steal my jacket. I just took a Sharpie and put an X through the patch to devalue it.
That is insane.
And then he ended up spray painting it black, but instead of like dyeing it, he just spray painted it. So like it smells like fucking paint fumes. It's a Canada Goose jacket.
It's like $1,000 jacket.
Yeah, he's like, I put an X through it, not because of any like, because he's like, he's not vegan, like he doesn't give a shit about that. He's like, I don't care about like any of that. I just didn't want people to steal it from me. Because he used to walk to work.
That's so crazy.
In the city.
Oh, in the city? Okay, I was gonna ask because like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I've only been through Syracuse once, but it was driving to Rochester to play that fucking sick fest that 5 people showed up to.
You spread the hardcore reality?
Dude, I spread my hardcore reality all over that 5-person cap venue. So is Deal with God the main thing that you got going right now?
Yeah, so Deal with God and All for All are the two bands that I'm like are like the bands. Obviously, like All for All could get a filler for me, but usually like it works out because, you know, Ashara is half of Deal with God. So like they're going to be going on like a whole tour, that Huge Days tour in like April, and All for All is almost done with the record. We have a 7-inch coming out, and we're doing I think we're doing obviously vinyl. I don't know if we're doing tapes for it. I think we're just doing vinyl. That's going to be on Fortress. All we have to do is get the artwork done. Everything else is finished. We just have to get the artwork done, and then it's like good as gold. Hopefully that should be out at some point. Ashara has an EP coming out on days in like hopefully March, I think. I don't quote me. Like, also, like, I'm not like, I don't know for sure. And if I'm spilling out like another band's secrets, don't quote me on that. It should be coming out soon. Ben Deal with God is hopefully going to be working on like an LP at some point. Hopefully, crossing fingers that we can like get the ball rolling, because like we're going to be doing the song on a comp hopefully, and we just got to get writing. I think once Ashara has the record out, like everyone else can like focus their brains on writing Deal with God shit. But right now we're just trying to like play out more. Definitely want to come back to Canada at some point soon, because like we had a blast when we played Montreal. And then hopefully we can go south this year, like hit like North Carolina and whatnot. Cause like we've only really done Florida. The most south we've gone to is like Richmond, but we've done Florida, but for Equinox. That's it. We did Tampa and then we did Equinox, but that's like its own thing. Like that was like we went there and back. We didn't tour down. But we've only done Northeast. We want to do West Coast. But right now we're, I think like what we're doing is like trying to get on the road. We just did a weekend with Cut Down and another Syracuse band called Nature Unveiled, and that was fun. That was a blast. Definitely like a whole smorgasbord of different vibes. Like you have like Cut Down, which is like basically a pogo punk band, and then you have like Nature, which is like grindcore with like breakdowns, and then us, which is like the metallic hardcore band. But hopefully we'll get something cooking soon. We have a new song. We're currently writing other stuff. Like we have ideas. We just have to like flesh them out into like full songs and shit. But aside from that, like, I think I'm doing another band with like Anthony Burke, who is, he just moved up here from Florida. He's in like Magnitude, Seed of Pain and whatnot. He moved up here because his fiance's family is from here and they wanted to move up to be even closer to family. So they're living here. His studio is up here and he's doing a band. Him and his kid Jack from Nature Unveiled, and they were doing like a posse band for fun. No. Yeah, it's gonna be a little silly. The artwork is fun. The artwork is funny. You'll see it when it comes out. It's a reference to a blue hedgehog we all know and love. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm gonna be playing guitar in it. It's already written. Like I didn't write anything in it, but I'm gonna be playing guitar. Hopefully, if we can get together and practice at some point. But it's just gonna be. It's not gonna be like a crazy big band. But other than that, like Be With God and All for All are like the two major priorities.
Who recorded the EP for y'all? The Deal With It. Oh God, when
Paul, our guitarist, recorded it at his house, but we had Burke mix and master it.
Okay.
I think we're actually going to like most likely like not do it in house for like the LP. Like maybe we'll go to like Burke or something like that to like fully do it, but we still have to finish before we even think about that. We gotta write the damn songs first. But yeah, he recorded it. He also recorded and mixed the demo and then the 2-song promo that we did. But and then he also mixed the second All For All demo. I mixed the first one. And then Burke did the recorded and is mixing and mastering the All For All EP. So starting to like expand a little bit from being like in-house, thankfully. Yeah. But he does a great job. He also just Paul recently mixed that band War Nerve, which is like, yeah, that band's dope. That band's sick. But
I know people in that band. Who do I know that's in that band?
Eli, Mark, Kyle, Vinny. I don't know the drummer, but Kyle Ortiz, I've known him for years. That's the homie right there. I've known him for a very long time.
They're coming here with Sworn Enemy and Brick by Brick. That's what they're playing here.
Dope. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Sworn Enemy, still good. Still good for all these years. We got to play with them. I feel like they're not getting the roses by people that they deserve. Cause like that, they're like, I think it's probably because of the shows that they played like for years. Like they would like always play like weird metal shows and like obviously like hardcore shows, but not like you never see Sworn Enemy play a bill of like contemporary bands. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they're not being put on like a crazy bill with like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good example, like Cross of Disbelief or no, they probably would, but like they're not playing like stuff that's geared towards like younger people. So I feel like a lot of younger people don't really understand like how dope they are, because we played with them in Albany and that was the only time I've seen them, and I was just like, dude, this band is like, out of all the older bands, like they're the most tight, and like you can tell they still like they practice, like they don't gotta be practicing like that, like they've been around forever, but they're fucking, you can tell they're fucking practicing. It is dope. And they still play, like I think they cover Biohazard and shit, which is awesome.
That's cool.
But yeah, hope to have them in Syracuse at some point. I thought about it recently, like, man, Sworn Enemy hasn't played here. Should probably try and figure out how to make that work. But yeah, great band.
Yeah, that's sick. My other band was asked to play a fest, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it. They're playing like Quebec City, like that little tour is going up there. But we have like a bunch of other stuff happening that day. I would love to play it, but it might not work out. It might not work
What's
out.
good? So like in Canada specifically, like what is like the because obviously like I'm like my knowledge of Canada is like where the hockey teams are from.
Yeah.
But I also don't know like geographically where they are. Like I'm like, oh, Quebec, is that like close to the Pacific Northwest, or is that like Ontario, like close to Ontario? Like what specifically, like what's where? Like where's Calgary? Where's Edmonton? Where's, you know what I mean?
So Montreal is in Quebec.
Okay.
And
that's like the region, the province.
And like Quebec City is 2.5 hours like northeast of Montreal. Like and then anything that's east of Quebec is not relevant. That's a little dig to my East Coast friends. But yeah, there's like nothing out there. It's like Halifax, and like New Brunswick has absolutely nothing. If you go west, you go Ontario, Manitoba. Is it Alberta, Saskatchewan, or Saskatchewan, Alberta, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not good at geography. I'm gonna have to learn it to take a citizenship test eventually, probably. But
right, I'm wondering, like, because like obviously like Canada is just the bottom. Like what actually goes on in Canada is just the bottom strip. I always
like
wonder.
90% of the people live 45 minutes to an hour from the U.S. border, apparently.
Right. I always wonder, like, how north could you get before you don't reach a hardcore scene in Canada? Like, how north? What's the furthest before you just hit like nowhere? You know, because like I think it was during the pandemic I went through like a deep dive of like what's good in Alaska. Like, what is the most remote area that like has some punk scene or some hardcore scene? Like, what's the most? Because like apparently there's stuff in Montana, but I can never find anything in Montana out of like all the US states. Like that is like the no man's land when it comes to like any music scene. There are bands from Montana, but I've never heard of them. So like I wonder like what is the most remote area that has something in like in Canada, because like I know north it's just all fucking like nothing. Like it's well, not nothing. It's beautiful mountains and trees and wildlife, but like no like actual civilization aside from like research, I guess.
I mean, so Newfoundland is like really far like it's like the easternmost part of Canada basically, and there's a scene out there, and it's like in the middle of the ocean. Like
that's crazy.
There's nothing out there, and it's really far north and like east. And then Thunder Bay is really northern Ontario. 10,000 people, I think, in the whole city.
Interesting.
And they had like Madball toured through Canada one time and played there to like 150 people.
That's crazy.
So there's still people there. Dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of like other, like more northern. I know like there's Edmonton, which is north, like 6 hours north of Calgary. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, northern Alberta, and there's a hardcore scene there.
That's crazy, because I know that's where like the Oilers are from, and I think I remember looking at it on a map and being like, what the fuck? Like There's civilization here? That's crazy. like, like that's like, it's so funny because like my knowledge of Canada, I've only ever been to Montreal. I've only ever been to like Toronto and Niagara Falls. Like those are the three areas. Sometimes I always mix up Niagara Falls and Toronto because I know they're so close together, but they are still technically two separate things. So like I only know of like these big major cities. I've never really been like westward. I mean, I've barely been westward. Like I've been to like California, but I've never been like to like Pacific Northwest area, or I've never been to like, I don't know, like Idaho or in the US. So like, I imagine like Vancouver, that's like closer to like Pacific Northwest. I know, right?
Yeah, Vancouver is like 100% Pacific Northwest region. It's like right above Seattle.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Well, as I just land this plane and we're back. Dylan, I really appreciate you hanging out on a Wednesday.
Oh, of course.
Just got one last question for you before we log off.
What's up? What's up?
What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
What do you mean? Like favorite city? Oh, favorite city for coffee and hardcore? Shit.
I know you like breakdowns because I
didn't even get to talk about I didn't even get to talk about like Rochester and the coffee scene there. Fuck. I'll do the TLDR. Shout out to Ugly Duck Coffee, ran by Roy Van Gorl, who was in Achilles, How We Are. He's the man. He's awesome. Coffee is amazing. It's the best coffee shop, and I'm not just saying that because it's hardcore related. And there's also like, I don't know if Glen Edith is still open. I'm trying to think. There was another coffee shop. Coffee's not that great, but Java's is dope if you want coffee at like fucking midnight and you just want to hang out. Coffee's kind of garbage though. Shower Recess. Their coffee's kind of like been lacking. That's the coffee spot that I spilled my coffee from Syracuse, owned by one of the members of Ed Gein. Shout out Peaks. That's actually like the best coffee in Syracuse. Fuck Salt City Coffee. They're terrible to their workers. Finger Lakes Coffee good? Roaster. Shout out to them. They're in the mall. It's coffee. I'd say it's decent. I feel like the best coffee in Syracuse is Peaks.
I've only had Recess.
But Recess depends on the location. If you go to location in Tip Hill, that one's good. The vibe is a lot better. The one that I go to all the time, which is on Westcott, used to be great, but now like
what's the one in the house?
It's all students now. It's like it's not like
no. I mean, which Recess is in the house? Which location? Okay, yeah,
Westcott. Probably the one you went to. Because like that one used to be such a vibe. They used to have couches everywhere. You can hang out, but now it's like all students doing like homework and shit like that. And like you can't hang. There's no like hang spot anymore in Syracuse. It's kind of a travesty. Like there's no like, because I know Richmond, they have like Lamplighter and Blanchard's, those are the two big coffee spots. And like that's where everyone just like chill shit. Like all my friends go to like Blanchard's and shit. But best city for coffee, it's kind of hard to like say, because like say best city for coffee in upstate New York. I'm just gonna go by upstate New York because like that's what I know most is Rochester, New York has the best coffee in New York, like upstate New York. I've been to a barista competition in Rochester. So that should tell you the coffee scene there. Boulder's also good. Boulder's good. That's another spot in Rochester. They're just coming to me right now.
Well, if I didn't have such a tarnished reputation for Rochester, I would be more inclined to believe you. But
listen, you didn't play Rochester show. Hit up Jack. or hit up like
We'll fix
Skylar.
it. We'll
You
make
didn't
it
play a
better.
Rochester show. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. But in terms of like, I guess hardcore, like for the breakdowns, I guess I don't know. Syracuse, but that's bias. I'm gonna say best hardcore scene besides Syracuse. Trying to think of like the best. Connecticut's dope. Even though the show just playing Connecticut was kind of dead, but that's just because there was another show happening in the city. But any show I've been to at the Crunch House, which is 2, have been dope. Shout out to like New Brunswick, New Jersey. Any show at St. Louis is awesome. I'm trying to think of like. Fuck with Tampa heavy. Tampa's
Legendary
dope.
hard city.
Dude, wild people. I love Tampa. Shout out Six Pack. Yield to None. Trying to think. Fuck. Because I don't want to say Syracuse because that's cocky and shitty.
I got mad. We got mad friends in Syracuse. That's all I want to say.
That's just like. That's just like the hometown pride. It's weird. I feel like I have more like I would say Hudson Valley, but that's just because of like all the bands from Hudson Valley, but they don't have that many shows from what I know. Yeah, honestly, best place is where all my friends are from. But like all my friends, all are in dope cities. So all those
just
cities,
all the but
that I
10
just
cities
listed.
that you said. No, I'm just kidding. It was only like 5.
That's the best. I don't know. Because I feel like every city has like their like dope shows, and every city also has, because like Syracuse has had some like, I wouldn't say lackluster shows, but like shows that aren't as like explosive and memorable. And like every other, like I've played amazing shows in Connecticut, but I've also played like, you know, okay shows in Connecticut. I played amazing shows in Wilkes-Barre and some okay shows in Wilkes-Barre. I played amazing shows in New Jersey and some okay shows in New Jersey. You know what I mean? It's like the roll of the dice in terms of like, you know, what's going on that day or who's available, you know, but there was a show in Syracuse while both Nature and Vale and Deal got on a run. And apparently there was still a shit ton of people there. So that's awesome that 2 Syracuse bands can be out of town and still have like a good attendance of a show. So that's like dope. But
I play Syracuse.
But yeah. So everyone should play Syracuse or Rochester, because usually if like we can't make a show work out, send it to Rochester, because Rochester and Syracuse are like this right now, because like Skylar is in All for All and in Deal with God. There's another band that's starting up, which is like half Syracuse, half Rochester. Like that's like, it's kind of like there was that connection in like the 2000s of Syracuse and Rochester, and I feel like it's like kind of coming back, because like those 2 scenes both have like kids. Like you have Torrent and Deep Disdain, which are all like younger kids, and then here you have like Fatal Consequences and like this Wasting Away, which is a new band, X Threat. You know, it's wherever there's youth, there's always going to be ambition.
I feel like Buffalo's reaching like it's a little further, but even when I was in Buffalo, there was like a ton of people from Syracuse and Rochester there.
Yeah, Buffalo is like kind of a mystery to me now, because like a lot of like the people I know in Buffalo, like all the dudes in like Violent Way and Exhibition and stuff like that, like they're doing more of like the Oi thing now. So like I don't really know I went to one show, it was like Simulacra and like Head Bussa, but like the whole landscape of Buffalo is completely different now. Like there's a whole world of like newer kids coming out to shit. So like I have no idea what's going on in Buffalo, which is like, it's cool that there's like a whole new world of kids because that keeps shit fresh. But no, it's really, I don't know even know what bands right now are like going out of Buffalo right now. It's like it's still kind of a big mystery to me
because we played with them a few times.
Oh yeah, I've heard that name around.
Final Deck isn't doing much anymore.
think yeah, I don't know. I know Fatal Visions is a band is like a lot of like younger people. And then there's another trying to think if there's another band that like popped up on my radar, but I can't really remember. I know Smash and Grab's not doing stuff anymore, which is a huge bummer because I loved that band. That band was awesome. But they're not really doing much anymore. And I know there's like Sweet Talker, which is like the new band out of Exhibition. Which is like more of like rock and roll kind of shit.
I love Violent Way though. But Violent Way is so sick.
Yeah, I finally got to see them. It was awesome. They covered like Blitz. A fight broke out.
Love it.
Classic skinhead shit.
Well, cool. Yeah. Dylan, I have to run to class now, which is great because it is.
Do what you gotta do.
Especially when you're
important.
30 and you have no other options in life.
Now I'm heading there. I'm trying to go back like next spring, hopefully. I don't know what for, but definitely useless
that's
degree
where I'm at.
Of some
Fine
sort.
Degree. I'm gonna get a BOFA.
Okay. Dude, I want to for like either philosophy or like maybe sociology or something like that, but something that there's not a lot of jobs out there for unless you go into academia. So I don't know if I'm setting myself up for like a death sentence, but
we balling.
Fuck it, we ball.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
We ball. You too, my man. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we could finally like make it work.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Dylan for hanging out on the podcast. Be sure to check out music from Deal With God and All for All, available on all streaming platforms. Check the description of this episode for links. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.